My name is Jasmine, and I'm 49 years old. 10 years ago, I thought I had everything figured out. My husband Richard and I had built a beautiful life together. We met on a bus when I was young, and even though people say you shouldn't talk to strangers, we did. We talked, we laughed, and we fell in love. After dating for a year, we got married. Back then, I was young and full of dreams. I worried about silly things like my weight, though I wasn't even fat. Richard would always tell me to stop dieting, that I was perfect the way I was. At the time, I didn't realize how much he truly cared. Richard wasn't the kind of man who brought flowers every day or served me breakfast in bed. He tried once, but the coffee spilled all over my dress, and I asked him not to do it again. He loved me in his own quiet way. He went to work every day, first as a builder, then as a manager, and eventually he started his own company. We had 2 sons, and Richard taught them to respect me and value family. We built a house outside the city with a beautiful garden. Richard insisted I shouldn't work, that I should focus on our home, so I planted flowers, grew vegetables, and watched our sons grow into fine young men. They got married, and soon we had a granddaughter named Claire. Richard adored her more than anything in the world. Then one weekend, everything changed. Our older son mentioned bringing Claire to visit, but Richard said he couldn't make it because he had to work. When I asked why he couldn't come home in the evening, he said he might stay at his father's house instead. Something felt terribly wrong. The next day, I drove to his office, but he wasn't there. The security guard's wife whispered something I'll never forget. "Poor woman," she said. Everyone knows but her. Those words cut through me like ice. I called Richard immediately and told him we needed to talk. When he came home, I asked him directly if there was another woman. He looked at me and simply said yes. My entire world shattered in that moment. I stood up because I couldn't bear to sit there anymore. I asked him if he would leave or if I should. He said he would go. I watched him pack his things, my face wet with tears that I didn't bother to wipe away. He took his clothes, his books, his watch. Part of me wanted to scream, to beg him to stay, but I just sat there in silence. He hugged our sons, kissed them on the forehead, and apologized. They cried and begged him not to leave, but he only sighed, opened the door, and walked out of our lives. The silence that followed was deafening. I broke down completely, crying so hard my whole body ached. My sons came to comfort me, and even through my pain, I told them that although their father left me, he was still their father and they should respect him. The days that followed were the darkest of my life. I couldn't sleep, I lost weight, and I forgot how to smile. My friend Dorothy finally came to see me and took me to a children's hospital where kids were fighting cancer. Their mothers stayed with them day and night, caring for them with such strength. Dorothy looked at me and said, "Jasmine, look at these women. They have real problems." your problems are small. That day changed me. I started volunteering, finding sponsors to help pay for treatments, and slowly I found purpose again. Helping those children brought light back into my life. 10 years passed. On my birthday, I waited for my sons to visit, when suddenly the door opened. It was Richard. He looked old and exhausted. He asked if he could stay. I told him this was his house too. He sat down and apologized, begging for forgiveness. Dorothy later told me that Richard's new wife had left him after lying about her child being his. Now here he was, broken and alone, asking for a second chance. I didn't know what to say or how to feel. Richard stayed in the guest room, quiet and distant. When my sons found out, they were shocked and protective of me. They told me I didn't have to accept him back, that they would take care of me. I appreciated their love, but I needed time to think. Could people really change? Could I trust him again? I watched him from the window one morning as he fixed the fence in our garden. He moved slowly, looking older than I remembered, but he was trying. When Claire came to visit and saw her grandfather, her face lit up with pure joy. She begged us to go to the park together, and reluctantly, I agreed. As we sat on that bench watching her play, Richard thanked me for letting him come back. I told him I hadn't decided yet, and he said he would wait as long as it took. Weeks passed, and Richard continued fixing things around the house and helping in the garden. Dorothy asked me how I felt about everything. I admitted I was angry but also felt sorry for him. She said I didn't have to forgive him right away, but maybe this was a chance for both of us to heal. That night I thought deeply about her words. The next morning I called Richard to the table and told him I didn't know if I could forgive him, but I wanted to try. Tears filled his eyes as he promised to make things right. Slowly, we started talking more, even laughing again. I told him that forgiveness wouldn't come easily, that he had to prove he'd changed. He nodded and promised he would. Over time, things improved. We became friends again, rediscovering the connection we once had. I still don't know what the future holds or if our marriage can truly be whole again, but I've learned something important. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting the pain or pretending it never happened. It's about choosing to heal, to give love one more chance, even when your heart has been broken. Maybe, just maybe, our family will find its way back to happiness. And if not, at least I'll know I tried, and that's something I can live with.